I am all about people finding supplies that work for them, and that includes notebooks. A couple of weeks ago, the team over at KUMA Stationery Crafts offered to send me this notebook, and I of course jumped at the chance. I love looking at new notebooks, and I am a self-proclaimed notebook dragon. I thought that the colour was beautiful, the little icon on the front is super cute, and I love the detailing on the gilding and also on the spine. But then because I liked it so much, they offered to send me 5 more. This gives us a great range of notebook options to look at, and maybe one of these will be right for you. Today we're going to have a look at the notebook features in terms of the structure, the layout, and also the paper, and then consider who is this notebook right for. Obviously, I have my own preferences when it comes to notebooks, and I do love the ones from KUMA Stationery Crafts, but I want to make sure we have a really good look at these ones so you can consider if it's going to be right for you. Working from the outside in though, each of the journals came in their own cardboard box, which then has the journal wrapped in tissue paper. The belly band on the notebook gives us a little bit of information, so the fact that each notebook has 160 doc grid pages with 160 GSM thick paper. The actual information on here changes depending on the material that the cover is made from, and on the back we just have some social media account information for KUMA Stationery Crafts. When it comes to the structural features of the notebook, we notably have linen and faux leather or vegan leather covers, and each of these comes in a different colour with a different icon design, so a good range to choose from. Of the colours and icons we have here, I would love to know in the comments which one is your favourite. I think for me, my favourite in terms of colour would be the teal one, and then in terms of icon it would be this little tree here. I think that one is super cute, but they are all really lovely designs. When it comes to the size of the notebooks, all of these are A5, and while the ones at the bottom here do look bigger than the ones beneath them, that's just because they're closer to the camera. In terms of the actual external dimensions though, we have approximately 14.5 centimeters across by 21 centimeters down by 2.2 centimeters deep. Those dimensions were pretty much exactly the same regardless of whether you were looking at the linen covers or the faux leather. The notebooks don't come with pen loops but do have gilded edges, with the teal and pink notebook having some decoration within that, while the purple, red, orange and beige just had straight gold gilding. Regardless of whether they're decorative or plain though, I think that they are really pretty. The paper of the notebook sits comfortably away from the actual edge of the notebook, and each design had a sturdy elastic closure. I've come to find elastic closures kind of essential for me because I just like my notebook to be securely closed when I'm not using it. If you don't like elastic closures though, these ones were nice and tight and sit comfortably at the very back of the journal without any overhang. This is actually how the notebooks come out of the box, so the elastic hasn't been stretched at all over the front of the notebook. It means that it sits really nice and flush to the edge of the back cover. Now as we're at the back of the notebook though, you can see that the inside cover does have a gusseted pocket. This one is well secured and good for any kind of flat ephemera you have. And in terms of dimensions, it's about 13 centimeters deep and 19.7 centimeters vertically. One of the fun things about KUMA Stationery Craft notebooks is that they do come with some bonuses. So we have a little sheet of stickers and a business card. We have the same designs of these in each of the notebooks, and you can see that for the stickers we have 8 different designs. Another helpful feature of these notebooks is that they do come with 2 bookmarks. The bookmarks are in the same colour as the cover and they stick out the bottom nicely, which means that you can actually use them as bookmarks. One of the most important features for any notebook I'm going to use though are, do the pages actually lay flat? These ones definitely do, though on some pages the page might need a little bit of training to lay down flat completely. When it comes to layout features, I like my notebooks to be quite a blank canvas. In these journals we do have a nameplate page to say who the journal belongs to, but the inside cover is completely blank, which I prefer. This way you can stick in reference material or anything that you might want at the very start of your notebook, a calendar, a flip out, whatever it's going to be. Flipping into the actual doc grid pages though, on the first page here, you can see that it is slightly stuck together. This is typical for most doc grid notebooks, especially ones with this type of binding. You can gently separate them if you want to, or what a lot of people do is just stick those pages together and move on to the next one. If you are going to do that, a bonus probably is that there aren't any page numbers, so you're not wasting page 1. The dots are nice and small and quite faint, so they're not going to distract from anything else that you put on the pages. There's a 5mm spacing between each of the dots, and in terms of the dimensions of the page, we have 13 centimeters across and 19 centimeters down, or 26 doc grid boxes by 38. We don't have any specialty dots on here to indicate halfway marks or the center of the page, so very much a blank canvas. When it comes to the number of pages in each of the notebooks, we have 160 GSM pages, so page 1, page 2, page 3, etc. You can think of this as 80 spreads or 160 pages. The paper is 160 GSM, so it's going to hold up well to the majority of pens you want to use, and the paper is bright white and uncoated. It's always good to see how these notebooks hold up to different pens though, so here I've jumped into the back of one of the notebooks and I'm just doing a pen test. For any of the typical writing pens, I'm just writing out their name, and for any of the pens that we might typically use to colour things in, I'm doing several passes over to see how it handles it. When it comes to the smoothness of the paper, it doesn't feel rough to the touch, but it doesn't have that buttery softness that some notebooks have, which honestly I personally prefer because I find that those buttery soft notebooks are a little bit of a tactile issue for me. When I'm writing out each of the names of the pens, I'm not only looking for ghosting or bleeding, where it shows through to the other side of the page, but I'm also considering feathering, like does the ink spread out from where I've laid it down. At the bottom, I'm also doing a smear test by seeing how long I need to leave the pen ink before I can pass over it and not have it smudge. To do this test, I used different intervals of wait time, so 1 second, 5, 10, and 20. I also opted to use 2 different pens, one being the Papermate Inkjoy, which is my personal preferred writing pen, and also the Zig Clean Color dot marker. Having a look at the results of our test though, I think that most of these pens have held up fairly well, but turning over, you can see we definitely have bleed through from the Sharpie, and also the start of bleeding or ghosting from the Uniball Air Micro. That's fairly typical for our pen testing though, because it is quite an inky pen, and if we flip back, you can also see that there is a little bit of feathering from that pen, because it lays so much ink down when you put it onto the page. As it sinks into the paper and dries, it does spread out a little bit. When it came to the smudge test though, I think that my regular writing pen held up fairly well, as we only really had any smudging on the 1 second mark, but 5, 10, and 20 didn't show any notable signs of smudging. When it came to the Zig Clean Color dot marker though, that one did have decent smudging at the 1 second and also the 5 second. There was a little bit of smudging at the 10 second, but by 20 it was all good. For both of those though, we didn't have any ghosting or bleeding to the other side of the page, so if you don't like the look of ghosting on your paper, then this paper holds up well. With all of that said though, who are these notebooks right for? If you like to have a variety of options when it comes to your cover materials and colours, then KUMA Stationery Crafts is a great option. Their cover designs are so cute, and the gilded edges on all of their notebooks are beautiful. If you like an elastic closure, or if you don't mind having one, but you kind of just want to tuck it at the back of your notebook, then this one works really well. If you want a notebook that has a lot of flexibility because it doesn't have a lot of pre-printed designs in it, whether that be things like inside cover designs, page numbers, or any kind of special page features, then these notebooks are going to work great for that. As said, there are a bunch to pick from, so if you want to grab something from KUMA Stationery Crafts, be sure to use code JASHI10 for 10% off your order. We love savings. I'm going to go and find a home for each of these on my shelf, go and add them into my journal rainbow, but let me know which of these colours is your favourite in the comments below. If you wanted to check out more notebook reviews to find your perfect notebook, then this playlist is the next one to check out. In that one, we go through a bunch of different notebooks to help find the right one for you, so click or tap on that one and I'll see you over there.